stuck in a relationship with a guy 12 years older than me. I remember the first time I met him. I was 16, and he was this charming, charismatic guy who seemed to have it all together. His name was Jack, and he was 12 years older than me, but that didn't matter to me back then. He made me feel special, like I was the only girl in the world. I fell fast and hard for him, completely captivated by his attention and the thrill of being with someone so much older and seemingly wiser. In the beginning, our relationship was like a whirlwind romance. Jack would take me out on these exciting adventures, and I felt like I was living in a dream. We would drive to the beach at sunset, take long walks through the city at night, and spend weekends exploring new places. I was the perfect girlfriend, or at least I tried to be. I never questioned him, never argued, always did what he wanted. I sacrificed a lot to make him happy. I gave up time with my friends, neglected my hobbies, and even put my dreams on hold just to be with him. I wanted to be everything he needed, to be the one who made him happy. But as time went on, things started to change. Jack began to get mad at me for the smallest things. If I was late by a few minutes, he would yell at me. If I said something he didn't like, he would ignore me for days. It was like walking on eggshells, never knowing what would set him off. He never hit me or anything, but the emotional toll was heavy. I felt like I was constantly trying to prove my worth to him, to show him that I deserved his love. For years, I endured this, 4 long years of feeling like I wasn't good enough, like I was failing him somehow. I kept hoping things would get better, that he would change. But they didn't. I felt like I was wasting my life, pouring all my energy into a relationship that wasn't giving anything back. I was losing myself in the process, becoming a shadow of the vibrant, happy girl I used to be. Finally, I had enough. I gathered the courage to leave him, to break free from the chains that were holding me down. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I knew it was necessary. I needed to find myself again, to live my life for me and not for someone else. During the few months we were apart, he kept begging me to come back. He promised he would change, that he would treat me right. He said all the things I had wanted to hear for so long, and eventually, I caved. I believed him. And to his credit, he did change. He started treating me better, showing me the respect and love I had craved for years. But it was too late. Something inside me had shifted during those months apart. The spark that had once burned so brightly between us was gone. I didn't feel the same way about him anymore. It was like I was looking at a stranger, someone I didn't recognize. I felt trapped, suffocated by the weight of our relationship. I didn't know how to leave him now that he was treating me right. The guilt was unbearable. I felt like I owed it to him to stay, to give our relationship another chance. But at the same time, I felt like I was losing myself again. I wanted to be alone, to live my life and enjoy my best years. I was terrified of my life without him, scared of what the future would hold. Part of me felt used. I was so young when we started dating, and looking back, I realized how vulnerable I was. He used to tell me that he thought about leaving me so I could find someone my age, but when I tried to leave, he did everything to stop me. It was like he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted the comfort of our relationship without the commitment. In the midst of all this turmoil, I met someone new. His name was Ryan. He was 23, closer to my age, and being with him felt wonderful and different. It was like a breath of fresh air, a glimpse of what my life could be like without the weight of my past relationship. I fell for him hard, but I ended things because of the guilt. I felt like I was betraying both of them, even though Ryan knew about my situation. Now, I find myself missing Ryan like crazy. I feel like I'm missing out on something amazing, something that could make me truly happy, but I'm stuck, unable to move forward. This whole situation is so complicated and stressful. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm drowning, suffocated by the weight of my decisions and the expectations placed on me. Every day feels like a struggle. I wake up with a heavy heart, burdened by the choices I've made and the path I'm on. I want to be free, to live my life without the constant fear and guilt that haunts me, but how do I do that? How do I break free from the chains that are holding me back? I spend hours lost in thought, trying to make sense of my emotions. I replay the past 5 years over and over in my mind, looking for answers, for some kind of clarity. I think about the moments of happiness, the times when I truly felt loved and cherished. But those moments are overshadowed by the pain and the heartache, by the countless times I felt ignored and unimportant. I long for the days when I was carefree and full of life, before my relationship with Jack began. I miss the person I used to be, the girl with dreams and aspirations, the girl who believed in love and happiness. Now, I feel like a shell of that person, weighed down by the memories and the regrets. Sometimes, I wonder if things could have been different. If I had been stronger, if I had stood up for myself sooner, would our relationship have turned out differently? Or was it doomed from the start, destined to end in heartache and disappointment? These questions haunt me, keeping me awake at night, leaving me restless and anxious. I've tried talking to friends and family about my situation, but it's hard for them to understand. They see the changes in Jack, the way he's treating me now, and they think I should be happy. They don't understand the emotional scars, the damage that's been done. They don't see the internal struggle, the battle between my heart and my mind. In moments of clarity, I know what I need to do. I need to find the courage to leave him, to let go of the guilt and the fear. I need to embrace the unknown, to take a leap of faith and trust that I'll be okay. I need to find myself again, to rediscover the person I used to be and to build a life that makes me happy. But it's easier said than done. The thought of being alone terrifies me. I've spent so many years with Jack, and the idea of starting over feels overwhelming. I'm scared of the loneliness, of the uncertainty that comes with being on my own, but deep down, I know that I can't keep living like this. I can't keep sacrificing my happiness for the sake of a relationship that's no longer fulfilling. So here I am, stuck in this limbo, trying to figure out my next move. I take it day by day, hoping that one day I'll find the strength to break free. I hold on to the hope that there's something better out there for me, that I deserve to be happy and loved in the way I've always dreamed of. And maybe, just maybe, I'll find the courage to take that leap. To leave the past behind and to embrace the future with open arms. To live my life for me, and to finally find the happiness and fulfillment that I've been searching for. Until then, I'll keep holding on, taking it one step at a time, and trusting that everything will work out in the end. During these days of contemplation, I find myself reflecting more deeply on my relationship with Jack. There were times when his anger would flare up unexpectedly, like a storm brewing on a clear day. I would be left bewildered, trying to piece together what I had done wrong. The constant state of anxiety began to take a toll on my mental health. I remember nights when I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, tears streaming down my face as I tried to suppress the sobs that threatened to escape. I didn't want to disturb him. I didn't want another fight. The emotional roller coaster left me exhausted. There were moments of tenderness and love, but they were fleeting, overshadowed by the turmoil that seemed to dominate our relationship. I became adept at pretending everything was fine, wearing a mask of happiness that hid the pain and confusion I felt inside. Friends and family would comment on how lucky I was to have someone like Jack, and I would smile and agree, even though my heart was breaking. One incident stands out in my memory. It was our anniversary, and I had spent weeks planning a special evening. I cooked his favorite meal, set the table with candles and flowers, and dressed up in a new dress I had bought just for the occasion. I wanted everything to be perfect, but when Jack came home, he barely acknowledged my efforts. He was in a foul mood, irritated by something that had happened at work. As the evening wore on, his anger simmered just beneath the surface, and it wasn't long before he snapped. He yelled at me for something trivial, and the night ended in tears and shattered hopes. I felt like I was constantly failing him, no matter how hard I tried. The weight of his disapproval crushed my spirit, and I began to doubt my worth. I started avoiding social gatherings, afraid that people would see through the facade and realize how unhappy I was. My world shrank, and I became isolated, my life revolving around Jack and his moods. Breaking up with him was a monumental decision. I remember the day vividly. It was a rainy afternoon, and we were in the middle of yet another argument. This time, something inside me snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. I told him I was leaving, that I needed to find myself again. He looked at me with a mixture of shock and disbelief, and for the first time, I saw vulnerability in his eyes. He begged me to stay, promised to change, but I was resolute. I needed to be free. The months we were apart were both liberating and terrifying. I started rediscovering who I was outside of our relationship. I reconnected with friends, picked up hobbies I had abandoned, and began to feel a sense of independence I hadn't felt in years. It was during this time that I met Ryan. He was different from Jack in so many ways. He was kind, attentive, and genuinely interested in me as a person. Being with him was like a breath of fresh air. I felt seen and valued for the first time in years. Ryan and I would spend hours talking about everything and nothing. We shared our dreams, our fears, and our pasts. He understood the pain I had been through and was patient with me as I navigated my feelings. It wasn't long before I found myself falling for him. The guilt of seeing someone new while still entangled in my past with Jack was overwhelming, but I couldn't deny the connection I felt with Ryan. Ultimately, I ended things with Ryan because of the guilt. I didn't want to hurt him, and I didn't want to betray Jack, even though I knew our relationship was over in my heart. Letting go of Ryan was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I missed him terribly, and the what-ifs plagued my mind. What if I had been stronger? What if I had chosen my own happiness? Now, as I sit here, reflecting on my life, I realize that I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be with someone who loves and respects me, someone who values me for who I am. I need to find the courage to leave Jack once and for all, to break free from the guilt and fear that have kept me trapped for so long. The journey ahead won't be easy. There will be moments of doubt, of loneliness, and of heartache. But I have to believe that it's worth it. I have to believe that there's a brighter future waiting for me, one filled with love, joy, and fulfillment. As I take the first steps towards this new chapter in my life, I hold on to the lessons I've learned. I know now that I am stronger than I ever realized, that I have the power to shape my own destiny. I am determined to reclaim my happiness, to live a life that is true to who I am. And maybe, just maybe, I'll find my way back to Ryan. Maybe our paths will cross again, and we'll have the chance to build something beautiful together. But even if that doesn't happen, I know that I will be okay. I will find my way. And I will create a life that is rich and fulfilling, a life that is truly my own. In the meantime, I will continue to navigate the complexities of my emotions, to seek the support of those who care about me, and to trust in my own strength and resilience. I will take it one day at a time, knowing that each step I take brings me closer to the happiness and peace I deserve. As I look out at the world with fresh eyes, I am filled with a sense of hope and possibility. The future is uncertain, but it is also full of potential. I am ready to embrace it, to face whatever challenges come my way, and to build a life that is rich with meaning and joy. This is my journey, and I am ready to take it on.